Flash, ladies and gentlemen, The Flash, episode 13. Cannot believe it's been 13 episodes, and this one is entitled Death Falls. And it's your boy Icon back with a little DC TV, and although it is The Flash, based on the attire, you know why, because we're about to talk about Death Falls and the fallen friend and companion. So, this particular episode starts where the last episode ended, where Eddie popped up in the room. And I said last week that when Eddie popped up in the room, I thought Eddie appeared as a result of, Iris's time sickness. I thought that I thought that she brought him, to the present through some point in time, and it was something related to her time sickness, and I was 100% wrong because Eddie had nothing to do with it. Basically, Eddie was created by Ronnie, who was Deathstorm, and it wasn't just Iris that was affected, because Deathstorm's at the point now where he's trying to get Katie to be his bride, and he's trying to pump her with as much grief as he possibly can. So he's now at a point where he's just hitting all cylinders. Like, he affected Iris, he affected Allegra, he affected Chester. Chester saw his daddy again. Allegra saw her cousin. Everybody else. Cecile didn't really see anybody, which I thought was weird. But every single member of Team Flash, they were affected by it. They were affected. Even Joe and Sue. Like, Joe and Sue, they got affected too because Sue saw her grandma. I don't know who Joe saw. Joe said someone's name, and I didn't catch the name that he said. But anyway. But he's trying to pump the whole team full of grief so he can put all that grief inside of Katie, and then it'll turn her into a hell spawn, and then she can become his bride. The only even Barry saw his mama, but the only person that wasn't affected by this was Killer Frost. And Killer Frost, she ended up calling Blaine, Big Daddy Blaine came in, and she brought Blaine in, but they hooked her up to the machine that was supposed to infuse her with cold fusion power to turn her into basically an oversized fire extinguisher so she can then destroy Deathstorm. However, when Frost went into the machine and she powered up in the machine, when she came out, her power, her enhanced power wasn't working. Deathstorm actually said to her, the two of them had a face-to-face conversation, and Deathstorm told her flat out, he was like, look, woman, he was like, you're not real. He said, you're not a real person. You're not an actual person. You have no life of your own. You're basically a copy of Katie. He said that everybody is affected because they feel some sort of grief. And he said that you don't have grief. You don't feel grief. And whatever grief you do feel, it's not your grief. It's actually Katie's grief. You have no grief for your own. So, he was just like, haha, you ain't gonna do me nothing. And then he dipped. So then, after that, Frost went to go talk to Blaine. And then Blaine was just like, well, he was like, I love you and I have feelings for you and I feel some kind of way for you. So he's like, you are a real person. Like, you're not a copy, this, that, and the third. And then that's when, that's when he was just like, your love. He said that the way that you love your sister, the way that you care about your sister, it's like, that's what makes you a real person. That's what makes you a real girl, Pinocchio. So then she goes and she sits by Katie's side. She gives Katie the speech, the I love you speech. And then she's like, Katie, you're everything to me. And then I love you more than life itself. And the thought of losing you would completely crush me and tear me beyond, beyond imagine. And I guess that was that feeling. Ow. I just killed a moth. So after Frost gave the I love you speech, the grief and the sorrow and the pain that she felt from the possibility of possibly losing Katie, that's when the machine energy kicked in and it turned her into a new sentient being, into a new hero. Because remember, everybody's leveling up on the Flash. Leveling up is the theme for season 8. And when she leveled up, she had a new hair, new outfit, new everything. And, she said that her new name now is Hellfrost. And I thought that was kind of cool. The suit did look badass, the way that the CGI and everything looked with the fire coming out of her eyes and everything. And then she said she felt warm, which I thought was funny. So then after that, she goes down, she goes to fight Deathstorm. Her and Deathstorm get into a fight, because now that she's powerful enough, she knows she can take him on, but then everybody else stayed back. Blaine stayed back, Barry stayed back because, she was just like, oh, you're not powerful enough to stop him. So while everybody was just hanging back and watching Killer Frost do her thing, she ended up ripping, the splicer off of his chest. And then after that, he was weakened. And then she used her power on him. And then she blew him up and she killed him. She killed Deathstorm. And apparently now the Deathstorm arc is over. But I guess that has to do with I guess that was more like a mid-season thing because we still have about 9 or 10 episodes of The Flash left. And I'm assuming that the rest of the season is going to be based on Iris and the time sickness. So they were just I guess the Deathstorm Ronnie storyline, it was never meant to be a full story, a full season big bad arc. It was more because even with last season with the Indian guy that was trying to like do the fear and stuff because he was ashamed that his mama gave up because she had cancer or whatever. Like they did his arc for the first like 8 episodes, and then we were done with him. We moved on to something else, and then we came back to him. So we're probably gonna come back to this at some point during the end of the season. But Deathstorm is dead, and they even said it on the news like he's dead and he's gone. The problem now is, after using all of that power to destroy Deathstorm, it took its toll on Frost, and her body couldn't sustain, like the emotional charge of having all that power. So then I guess she went into cardiac arrest, and then they put her on the table, and then Caitlin and Barry, they were in the room, they were trying to save her life. And surprise, surprise, she didn't make it, unfortunately, and Killer Frost died on the operating table. And I was right. Because I said in the last review, I said that between Caitlin, Killer Frost, and Joe West, out of the 3 of them, one of them would not survive this season. And then when and even after I said that, I later thought about what I said, and I forgot that Damien Dark had given Joe that time stone before like the Armageddon crossover was over. So it didn't make sense. Like it didn't really make sense. Why would you give him that time stone just for them to kill his character? And plus, because the whole Armageddon was based on his character dying, why would you kill him like twice, like back to back? So I was just like, it has to be Caitlin and Frost. And they apparently chose to go with Frost. And like Killer Frost died. Caitlin, she fell down and broke down. Like, Blaine broke down. Nobody went to go hug Caitlin or Killer. Nobody went to go hug Caitlin or Blaine. Like everybody hugged each other. Iris and Sue came back to Star Labs and everything. And it was very sad and very emotional. But to be honest, like it was time for one of them to go, because. And even like if you're the artist, if you're the makeup artist, if you're like the costume artist, the costume team, it has to be pretty annoying over and over again throughout the course of shooting these episodes to put the makeup on her, to take it off, to put it back on so she can shoot another scene, then take it off so she can do something else. Now we got to put it back on for the fight stuff and this, that, and third. Like if I was the makeup artist, they was like, yo, bitch, you got to die because like, because I'm sick of putting this hair on. Like, like put the wig on one time. We just going to do it one time. And it's just a lot, like with the whole like dual screen with having them and then coming up with lies for one of them not to be in a certain place at a certain time. Like even I was getting tired of it, and I was just like, they could have just put Killer Frost onto someone else's body, but having Danielle Panabanker play those double roles, like it's getting too much at this point. If the showrunners really wanted to hit home and really wanted to impact the audience, because Killer Frost's death was very impactful. It did hurt because we've known Killer Frost since season 3. We've got to know her, like we were very in tune with her, and the public is, the public is very much, like a supporter of Killer Frost. The thing is, if they would have killed Caitlin, that would have hurt. And it would have been awkward because she'd still be on the show because she'd be Killer Frost. But they chose to kill Killer Frost. And I don't know where we go from here because this debunks my whole thing about fire and ice. And I don't know, like Caitlyn's just going to go back to not having power at all, And again, the rest of the season is obviously going to be based on Iris and the time sickness. But it's very interesting. Like in the next episode, it's actually like a Killer Frost like funeral episode. So we'll see what happens, because that's it. Aside from Iris, like I'm very confused about where the show goes from here and why the decision was made to kill Killer Frost. And again, I'm not saying I was against it, because I personally felt that either merge them back together or one of them got to go. But I just wonder, like, what was the purpose of killing Killer Frost's character? But we will find out as the season progresses and continues. And thank you for tuning in. So now, like we're not going on break, like Superman and Lois is on break, but the Flash is still going week to week. So I guess we're gonna, after we get over like Killer Frost's death and we move on from that, then there's going to be like a new storyline that continues. Like I said, it'll probably based around Iris and Dion and the Still Force and all the forces. And then we'll continue on. But I feel like, but there's also a part of me in the back of my brain that feels like we're not done with Killer Frost yet. And she's going to pop up somewhere in the season finale to give Katie some encouraging words. And Caitlin will probably turn into like some new ice thing. And then we'll move, all that other stuff. So hit me up on Twitter and Instagram. Share your thoughts down below. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about Killer Frost's death. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you very sad? Did you wish they would have killed Caitlin over Killer Frost? Do you like Caitlin more than Killer Frost? Like I said, share your thoughts down below and we will talk about it. Hit me up on Twitter and Instagram, always on YouTube. Hit the notification bell, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, because not only are we doing The Flash, we're covering Naomi, which is about to hit her season finale. We're still doing Superman and Lois, which is the best TV show out there right now. We're still, unfortunately, well, I don't want to say unfortunately, but we're covering Moonknight. The season finale of Moonknight is on the channel, and we're still doing that Young Justice. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. Again, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and until next time, for some more Flash action, as we say goodbye to Killer Frost, take care. Peace.